On behalf of the family, I'd like to thank you for coming, showing a large support. I know it is a large family, but again, it's nice to have all these friends and family members to come by, I'm sure. And at this time, Edward's brother is going to have a few words to say. It's just a service of remembrance. And then maybe afterwards, if there was someone else who would like to say something, we can get you to come forward. Okay?
Water. It really is water.
Are you sure?
It looks like a lot, but this won't take long, I promise. I'd like to thank everyone for coming today. I know that sounds a little strange, but community was important to Edward, and I'm sure he's happy to see so many of you here for Moments of Voice. I was asked to read this poem. It's called The Dash. I don't know if any of you have heard it before, but I read of a man who stood to speak at the funeral of a friend. He referred to the dates on her tombstone from the beginning to the end. He noted that first came the date of her birth and spoke of the following date with tears. But he said what mattered most of all was the dash between those years. For that dash represents all the time that she spent alive on earth, and now only those who loved her know what that little line is worth. For it matters not how much we own, the cars, the house, the cash. What matters is how we live and love and how we spend our dash. So think about this long and hard. Are there things you'd like to change? For you never know how much time is left that can still be arranged. If we could just slow down enough to consider what's true and real and always try to understand the way other people feel, and be less quick to anger and show appreciation more and love the people in our lives like we've never loved before. If we treat each other with respect and more often wear a smile, remembering that this special dash might only last a little while. So when your eulogy is being read with your life's actions to rehash, would you be proud of the things they say about how you spent your dash? I think Edward will. So I'd like to just give an overview of this. Part of this is from me, and part of this was some quotes from a letter that Edward had left to be read when the time came that he left us. So, death is so harsh in its finality. The searing hollowness of loss and grief could render us all deceased. When sunshine has lost its warmth, when living itself has lost importance, this is the reality of losing someone you not only loved, but someone who loved you. However short your intense your grieving, the impact of grief depends solely on the character of the one you're grieving for, and Edward had huge character. Mona, Mike, Chris, Andrew, my heart is broken for you. There's nothing I can say to take away the pain, or I'd have done it. The emptiness that swells inside you will lessen in time, and that doesn't mean you're forgetting him either. Let his memories heal you, and the day you hear his voice in yours, smile, because he sure will be. He would never want you to be unhappy. So I'll get this part out of the way right now. I really do miss you. I'm not sure if I should be happy for you and mad at you for leaving. You left us way too soon, and it's going to take some time to accept that you're gone. You were a big part of so many lives, and that much pain will take a lot of time to heal. You had so many roles in your short life: son, brother, husband, father, grandfather, uncle, in-law, outlaw, nephew, cousin. The list could go on, but most importantly, you were a friend, and you were my friend. Some of you may be wondering why it took so long for this service. Well, there were a couple of reasons for that. Edward didn't want anybody to have to take off work. Now, I personally wish all of my friends had the weekends off, but most of his did, I guess. So, and we also had to wait at least 3 days, just in case. So that obviously didn't happen. And we're here today, so enough joking. Somewhere I read that eulogies were supposed to be somber. Here's where I wrote. Edward wrote a letter several years ago that some of his wishes would be read, and I was given the opportunity to read that letter. And to be honest, I wasn't surprised by any of it. And here I have a few quotes from that letter. I want a plain wooden box, one that's not too perfect, just like me. And I thought, well, that's one statement that spoke volumes of the man that he was. He never needed fancy or expensive because his riches came from within and from the family he loved more than life itself. And I really love this next one. Sometimes I feel entitled to get angry when the world doesn't seem fair. And I'm like, I can handle the anger part right about now. And I said, he didn't fight for himself. He never did. He fought for others. He'd take his losses gracefully, but cross someone he cared about. You know, he was a fierce protector and a friend, and nobody ever felt threatened when he was on their side. And this next quote is possibly the most important for me. I want to feel the heat of the sun, the cool rain, the frost in the fall as the leaves are changing, and yes, I want to move on when I die, not just lay preserved in a box. You know, he said he wanted the plain pine box if he couldn't be cremated. But he got his wishes here, and I just think how incredibly sweet and sad that after his death we discover our brother Edward was a poet, you know. The heat of the sun, the cool rain, the frost in the fall as the leaves are changing. I want to move on when I die. How beautiful and heartfelt a message. He lived his life loving what was important, and in doing so, he taught us all the same thing. Finally, his thoughts turned to something much larger than all of us. I think there's a much bigger picture, he said, bigger than any of us will ever know until we get there. I hope when you get there, the trumpets blasted and angels sang. I hope familiar faces greeted you and the gates, and most importantly, I hope you're happy. 54 years old was not what I imagined would be your age at your death. We were supposed to grow old and grumpy together, raise our grandchildren, laugh and drink in life. There were practical jokes to pull as well, lots of them, and it's only natural that he finishes his list like this. So with being said, and me being gone, I'll say this one last thing. See you on the other side. We miss you, and we'll never forget you. Thank you very much.